There are places the earth seems to whisper through trees, not in grand declarations, but in murmurs softened by humidity, in pine needle hush, in the golden flicker of cicadas pulsing at dusk. Georgia is such a place. Here, rivers don't rush. They remember. Moss drapes over the shoulders of ancient oaks like time refusing to let go. The land wears its age like a quiet anthem. From the red clay paths of the Piedmont to the misted swells of the Blue Ridge that rise like the last exhale of the Appalachians, there is music in the stillness here, a melody of porch swings, thunderclouds rolling in from nowhere, a gospel of heat and longing. This is not just geography, it is memory, and it welcomes slowly, like sweet tea poured into a sweating glass. It says, "You don't pass through Georgia. You are invited. Welcome to Georgia State." The air here is dense with story, with soil that once cradled cotton and railways that split futures open. Wander far enough off the highways, and you'll find crumbling general stores, railroad depots with ghosted tracks, fields still humming with the lives that worked them. There's a feeling you get when stepping across Georgia's threshold, like entering a family home where the paint peels only because it's been weathered by joy. The smell of wood smoke from backyard grills, the hush before a summer storm, front porches lit by the warm orange of gas lamps and quiet pride. This is the real draw of the South, not spectacle, but intimacy. Consider the truth buried in the floorboards of old churches, or echoing from protest steps in Atlanta, where voices once cracked the sky open. Here, the civil rights movement didn't rise from theory, but from heat, hunger, and the brave conviction that justice could bloom in hostile soil. Every small town carries a chapter of this defiant tenderness, the resilience of grandmothers, the power of song. For travelers, Georgia teaches a softer kind of curiosity. Speak gently in the countryside. Let your silence make room for stories. In towns like Milledgeville or Dahlonega, ask questions of the locals. They are the last librarians of truths unrecorded. And if you hear a phrase that curls unexpectedly, if the word bless is followed by silence, know you've just stepped into the subtext of Southern speech, where politeness and poetry intermingle like kazoo on a back fence. This is a place of contradictions. Luxurious gardens and backroad dust, metropolitan sprawl and old world manners, conservative nostalgia and radical history. But it holds these contradictions without flinching, because Georgia does not explain itself. It simply waits to be seen. So breathe in the honeysuckle dusk. Let the pine winds pass through you. Trace your way through its softness and strength, its sorrow and sunlight, because Georgia doesn't just welcome visitors. It makes you remember who you were before the world rushed in. Savannah moves like a dream remembered just before waking, slow, fragrant, and half-lit by memory. Spanish moss drapes from live oaks like long-forgotten silk, trailing over cobblestone streets that seem older than time itself. There is something ghostly here, but not in fear, more like a lingering tenderness, a warmth that refuses to fade even as centuries pass. The city holds its breath beneath wrought iron balconies and shuttered windows. It hums in the spaces between things, the pause between footsteps on River Street, the hush of azaleas blooming violently in the spring, the stillness that gathers around midnight fountains. And within this hush, stories hide in plain sight. In 1820, a yellow fever epidemic swept through Savannah, one of many. But the city did not fall. It adapted. Whole families vanished into history, but others rose with grit, threading new life through trauma's fabric. Even now, if you wander beneath the cypress trees of Bonaventure Cemetery, you'll find gravestones etched not just with names, but with hope disguised as epitaphs. Locals speak of the veil being thinner here, not because of ghosts exactly, but because Savannah seems aware of those who have come and gone, and those just passing through. For the traveler, Savannah is best explored on foot, not rushed, but wandered. Let the rhythm of your steps fall in time with the city's heartbeat. Each square you pass is like a breath. 24 of them, laid out like verses in a poem. Many are ringed with oaks and fountains, but no two feel the same. One may offer the scent of magnolia after rain. Another, the sound of a lone violinist playing for no one in particular. When you're spoken to here, respond gently. Compliments are currency. Humor is honey, and everything, from the prowlings in the shops to the drawl in a stranger's voice, is delivered with a touch of ceremony. Avoid loudness. Let your presence be soft. This is a city that listens. By sunset, the marsh light turns golden and syrupy, as if time itself is melting across the water. And in that glow, you may feel what many have felt here, the sensation that Savannah isn't a destination, but a memory waiting to be claimed. In the mountains of northeast Georgia, where morning mist curls like breath above the Chattahoochee, Helen appears, unexpected, improbable, and enchanted, a Bavarian village nestled in Appalachian woods, as if the Alps had wandered too far south and decided to stay. Timber facades painted in soft pastels, flower boxes spilling with geraniums, roofs pitch steep like storybook dreams. The entire town feels like it was conjured, not built, a place where cobblers might still sing as they work, and laughter echoes from painted eaves. But beneath the quaint veneer lies a quieter history. Helen wasn't always this whimsical. By the late 1960s, it was fading, an old logging town with little left but its river, until a group of local businessmen, inspired by memories of German villages they'd seen while stationed abroad, reimagined the town completely. With alpine courage, they gave Helen a new face and saved it. Now, each fall, Oktoberfest drums echo through the valley, but it's the off-season that reveals the real town. When the tourists thin and the air sharpens, you can hear the river speak again, and see the fog dance in the pines beyond the chapel spire. Walk the trails just outside town, and you'll find another world, one of waterfalls hidden beneath rhododendron thickets, and deer moving silent through frost. And if you visit, move slowly. Smile at shopkeepers. Sip your beer, don't gulp it. Know that this town thrives in the art of pretending, but that doesn't make it any less real. Helen is proof that reinvention is not betrayal, but survival painted in joy. A place where old dreams dress themselves in flowers and ask you to believe, just for a while, that magic wears lederhosen and sings beside the river. At the edge of Georgia's coast, where salt marshes breathe in tides like slow lungs, Jekyll Island waits, quiet, hushed beneath ancient oaks. Their limbs stretch wide with Spanish moss trailing like forgotten sentences. Here, the sea doesn't crash. It murmurs. Once, this island was playground to America's wealthiest, a retreat for Rockefellers, Morgans, and Pulitzers, who came not for spectacle, but seclusion. The Jekyll Island Club stood as a monument to privilege, its grand halls echoing with deals whispered over brandy. Yet storms came, fortunes shifted, and the island was eventually given back to time. Now, Jekyll belongs more to her turtles than her tycoons. Loggerheads nest here, slowly returning to the same sand their ancestors knew. And Driftwood Beach, gnarled and skeletal, feels like the remains of a shipwrecked forest, haunted and holy. Visitors who arrive with reverence will be met with peace. Keep your voice low near the dunes. Respect the sea oats. Let the boardwalks guide you gently, because Jekyll is not a place that shouts. It reveals itself only to those who listen, to the tide pulling secrets from the shore, to the wind rustling through the bones of trees, to history, which never really left. St. Simon's rises from the Atlantic like a hymn, soft, sunlit, and steeped in memory. Live oaks form archways overhead, their moss swaying gently in salt air, as if blessing each traveler who wanders below. There's a slowness here, a tempo measured not in minutes, but in tides. The golden marshes stretch outward, reflecting skies that shift from pewter to lavender at dusk. Yet beneath the postcard calm lies a layered past. In 1803, Igbo people, brought here against their will, walked into the water at Dunbar Creek, choosing freedom in death rather than bondage in life. Their story, known as the Igbo Landing, still haunts the shore with dignity and sorrow. Locals say the waters remember. Some swear they've heard singing at sunrise. Today, cyclists glide beneath the oaks. Fishermen cast lines near the pier. And visitors climb the lighthouse, gaining a view not just of water, but of weight. The way this island carries both history and healing. If you come, move slowly. Greet strangers like neighbors. Let silence fall where it may, for St. Simon's is not only a retreat, it is a place that remembers who walked before you and asks you gently to do the same. Atlanta does not unfold, it surges, beneath the layered skyline of mirrored glass and steel, beneath the hum of traffic and the rise of cranes. There is a pulse here, relentless, restless, real. It's a city born of ashes, burned to the ground in 1864, and reborn from smoke with something deeper than resilience. Will, walk these streets and you'll feel it. In the rhythm of a mural-covered wall, in the gospel voices echoing from Auburn Avenue, in the scent of spice drifting from food trucks beneath sycamore shade. But to truly understand Atlanta, you must listen for the quiet thunder beneath its noise, the voices that shaped nations. Martin Luther King Jr.'s boyhood home still stands, modest and yellow, its porch sagging just slightly with time. Around the corner, Ebenezer Baptist Church keeps breathing, even now, long after his final sermon. This is a city of contrast. Gentrification rises beside civil rights landmarks. High fashion walks past handwritten protest signs. Tech startups and trap beats. Black brilliance in motion. A metropolis still figuring itself out and daring anyone to look away. And yet, within the storm, kindness. In Atlanta, strangers wave from porches. There are barber shops that feel like family reunions, and neighborhoods like Cabbagetown or Piedmont Park, where each sidewalk crack feels storied. If you visit, come curious but grounded. Speak with respect. This city has a long memory and little patience for spectacle. Ride MARTA without flinching. Tip well, and if someone greets you with what's good, answer with truth, not performance. Because Atlanta doesn't need to impress you. It needs you to pay attention. By evening, the city glows amber, sunset caught between skyscrapers, the air thick with jazz and late summer heat. And somewhere in a backyard or on a rooftop, you'll hear laughter spill out into the dark, like a city remembering joy despite everything. Atlanta is not a postcard. It is a promise kept in motion, a flame that refused to go out. And if you stay long enough, you may find that fire catching in your own chest. The sound begins before the sight, a hush, then a roar, as if the mountain itself is exhaling. Amicalola Falls, whose name means tumbling waters in Cherokee, pours from the North Georgia hills with a kind of sacred fury. 729 feet of river flung from granite cliffs. Catching light, like a veil tossed to the wind, mist drapes the air in silver. The rocks are slick with time, and the steps that climb alongside, 604 in total, invite not conquest, but humility. This is a threshold, not just to the falls, but to the Appalachian Trail itself, which begins nearby, winding northward toward Maine with every possible kind of weather, resolve, and wonder. But linger here first. Notice the way the water thins and thickens as it falls, how the rhododendrons tremble at the edge, how silence returns between cascades like a breath drawn in. Long before hikers arrived, the Cherokee moved through this land with reverence, not ownership. They understood something many forget, that to approach the sacred, you must first be quiet. Travelers who come to Amicalola today feel this instinctively. Voices soften, cameras lower. There's a shared sense, among strangers even, that this place deserves more than applause. If you hike, let each step be slow. Bring water, bring patience, and know that the trail gives only what you earn. At the top, the world opens, hills rolling out like green waves, the sky pressing down with sudden nearness. There is clarity here, the kind that only comes from effort, and as you descend, wet with mist and steadied by stone, you may realize something, that the real descent is within, that the fall of water is also the rising of stillness. Amicalola does not ask you to remember her. She asks you to feel yourself for just a moment. Wash clean. Tybee Island greets you not with grandeur, but with ease. A shoreline stretched wide beneath a soft Atlantic sky. A wind salted and slow. A rhythm that asks nothing of you but presence. The road here unspools through marshland. Golden grasses shifting with the tide. Egrets rising like folded paper into the morning. And then, suddenly, ocean. Not loud, just waiting. The lighthouse stands like a sentinel, its stripes faded slightly by sun and storm. Climb its 178 steps, and you'll see the island unfurl. Dunes held in place by sea oats, boats idling in the distance, and homes painted in pastels as if the sky had spilled downward. Tybee has always been a threshold, long before sunbathers. It was a signal post, a watch point, a place where tides whispered news from far coasts. In 1862, for Pulaski fell here, a moment that changed the shape of military warfare forever. The Union's rifle cannons breached the once impenetrable walls, proving even the strongest offenses could be undone by time and innovation. Today, the fort stands in ruin and reverence. Its brick scars are visible reminders, not just of war, but of what survives it. Tybee moves differently than the mainland. Shops close early. Conversations linger. Shoes are optional. Here, children chase gulls across warm sand. Fishermen lean into silence at the pier. Pelicans glide just above the waterline, never flapping, only trusting the wind. If you visit, bring little. Let the island set your pace. Avoid bright lights near the beach. The sea turtles need the dark. Respect the hush of nesting season. And know that hospitality here is quiet. A smile from a local. A nod at the crab shack. A space made for you to exhale. In the evenings, when the tide creeps high and the horizon fades into lavender, the island feels like a hell breath. And if you walk the shoreline, then, with your feet in foam and your heart soft from stillness, you may understand why they call this place Savannah's front porch. Not for its proximity, but for its welcome, its warmth, its way of saying, stay a while. Nothing here is in a hurry but the sea. Marietta feels like a memory held in amber, warm, quiet, and catching the light in places you least expect. Nestled just outside Atlanta's sprawl, it offers a gentler pulse, a slower rhythm of brick streets and courthouse bells, front porches with rocking chairs swaying like clock pendulums. The square is its heart, a place where festivals bloom like dogwoods in spring, where veterans sit with coffee in hand, watching children chase bubbles beneath the old clock tower. Yet, Marietta has known unrest. In 1915, Leo Frank was lynched here, dragged from prison, and murdered under oak trees. His story, complex, painful, remains a wound and a warning, but the town has not forgotten. Memorials stand now, etched not just in stone, but in conversations that seek to hold truth with both hands. Still, Marietta continues to evolve. Museums now line its quiet corners, telling stories not only of battles and generals, but of everyday lives. Black educators, immigrant shopkeepers, farmers turned factory hands. If you wander here, do so with curiosity. Local diners serve more than biscuits. They serve recollection. Ask about the mural near the railroad tracks. Notice how the past presses gently into the present. On weekends, the farmer's market arrives like a song. Fresh peaches, bluegrass, laughter drifting between booths. And just beyond town, Kennesaw Mountain rises slowly, its trails winding upward through pine and memory. Climb it not for conquest, but for stillness. Marietta doesn't ask to be marveled at. It asks to be noticed, to be listened to be remembered. And in return, it gives you something rare, a sense that beneath its quietness, there's a deep, steady breath still rising. Athens hums with a restless heartbeat, not the steady thrum of old Georgia towns, but a pulse quickened by creativity, youth, and rebellion. It's a city where history leans in close to music bars, where college brick meets mural walls, and every corner seems to whisper a secret. Walking downtown, you can almost hear the chords of REM and the B-52s still hanging in the humid air. Echoes of a time when a college town became a crucible of culture and something wild broke loose. But Athens is more than sound and song. Its streets are lined with antebellum homes. Their white columns soft in afternoon light, while just a few blocks away, new voices rise from coffee shops and art studios. It is the past and present entwined, a place where Southern traditions meet restless innovation. Hidden beneath this energy is a quiet reverence. The University of Georgia's campus holds a history of progress and protest, from civil rights sit-ins to debates that shaped the South's future. Athens has long been a place for ideas to breathe. For visitors, the city offers a lesson in listening. Slow down. Explore the Georgia Theater, not just for concerts, but for the stories etched into its walls. Visit the State Botanical Garden to feel the hush of ancient trees. Or find yourself in a tiny bookstore where the scent of old pages meets new dreams. Respect the locals' passion. Conversations here run deep. Be patient with the pace. Athens moves on its own terms. When night falls, the streets come alive. But even then, there's an intimacy, a shared sense that this is not a place to be conquered, but a place to be known. Athens is a song, sometimes quiet, sometimes loud, but always unmistakably alive. Columbus sits where the Chattahoochee curves like a whispered promise, its riverbanks holding stories both old and restless. Brick warehouses, weathered by sun and rain, line the waterfront, their shadows long and silent as the day slips away. This city was once a cotton powerhouse, its factories humming with life and labor, now quieted, repurposed, carrying echoes beneath their rusted beams. In 1966, Columbus made history quietly, the first city in Georgia to integrate its public schools peacefully, not with grand fanfare, but with determination that rippled through homes and churches. Walk in the historic district, you'll feel the layers, from Confederate monuments to murals honoring civil rights, from riverboats gliding by to the laughter of children playing in parks. Travelers here should slow their pace, respect the weight of history woven into each brick and tree. Columbus invites you not to look, but to see, with open eyes and quiet heart. A city still writing its story, one gentle step at a time. The New Manchester mill ruins stand silent, a skeleton of once roaring industries swallowed by time and vine. Red bricks crumble beneath creeping ivy. Windows gaze empty like hollow eyes. This was once a heartbeat of textile work, where hands shaped thread into fabric, where lives intertwined with looms and whistles. But by the 1930s, the mill closed, leaving only echoes in its empty halls. Today, the ruins breathe with quiet mystery, a place for reflection rather than rushing footsteps. Walk gently among the stones. Listen for the ghosts of labor, not with fear, but with respect. Here, in decay, there is a strange beauty, a reminder that even forgotten places hold stories waiting to be felt. Chatuge Lake lies nestled between Georgia and North Carolina. a vast mirror stretched thin against the Appalachian foothills. Its surface glints like shattered glass, fractured by breeze and sunlight in endless shimmer. The lake was born a necessity, created in the 1940s, to tame the Hiwassee River's wild temper and provide hydroelectric power. But it quickly became something more, a sanctuary for fishers, boaters, and dreamers alike. On quiet mornings, fog drifts low, blurring the line between water and sky, making it seem as though the lake floats in a suspended breath. Herons stand still as statues, and the call of loons echoes softly, carrying a solitude that feels ancient. Local lore tells of a submerged valley beneath these waters, farms, roads, and homes now resting beneath the lake's calm face, ghosts of a world sacrificed for progress. If you visit, let the lake teach you patience. The current is slow here, but never idle. Watch for turtles sunning on logs, and listen to the rhythmic slap of oars breaking water. Respect the shoreline's fragile edges. Leave no trace of your passage, but footprints soon washed away. Chatuge invites you to slow down, to breathe with the hills, and to find peace not just on the surface, but beneath it, where history and water intertwine. Ansley Park is a quiet pulse amid Atlanta's hum, a neighborhood where history lingers in brick-lined streets, and towering oaks shade wide sidewalks like old friends. Designed in the early 1900s as one of Atlanta's first planned communities, Ansley Park balances elegance with ease. Its homes, Craftsman, Tudor, and Colonial Revival, stand proud, framed by lush gardens and winding paths. Walking here feels like stepping back in time, yet the neighborhood hums with present life. Children's laughter bounces between porches, and neighbors nod as if time itself moves slower here. Beneath the surface, Ansley Park holds stories of Atlanta's growth, from the streetcars that once traced its edges to the careful blending of nature and urban life. It's a place that reminds you how city and calm can coexist. If you visit, walk gently. Pause to notice the craftsmanship in every detail. The carved woodwork, the stained glass, the iron gates. Respect the privacy of those who call it home. Ansley Park invites you to slow down, to listen to the leaves whisper stories, and to remember that even in a city's heart, there could be quiet havens where time breathes easy. The Chattahoochee River moves like a living thread through Georgia's heart, a winding pulse of water and memory, carving valleys and stories as it journeys southward. Its name, derived from a Muscogene language, means painted rock, a nod to the river's shifting colors and the ancient stones beneath its surface. For thousands of years, it was a lifeline, a source of sustenance, a route for trade, and a sacred place for the native peoples who first called this land home. Today, the river is both sanctuary and playground. Kayakers glide through rapids with effortless grace. Families picnic beneath towering pines, and fishermen cast lines with patient reverence. The gentle rush of water offers a kind of meditation, a constant, soothing rhythm in a world that often forgets to slow. Along its banks, remnants of history stand quietly. Old mills and iron bridges, relics of the industry and travel that once defined the region. Yet nature always reclaims. Beavers build lodges unseen. Herons stalk the shallows, and the river's voice remains both wild and steady. Visitors are invited to approach with respect, observe wildlife from a distance, keep the banks free of litter, and remember that this river holds stories older than any city. As sunlight dapples through leaves and dances on ripples, there's a reminder here. Life flows, changes, endures, and to listen deeply to the Chattahoochee is to hear the song of time itself. Oakland Cemetery is not merely a resting place. It is a living storybook etched in stone and shadow. Founded in 1850, it sprawls across 48 acres of Atlanta, where moss-draped oaks lean over weathered headstones like silent sentinels. Here, the city's history is whispered in granite and marble, from the graves of Civil War soldiers and civil rights leaders, to artists, poets, and ordinary citizens whose lives shaped Atlanta's soul. Walk slowly. Notice the artistry carved into each monument. The delicate roses, the solemn angels, the words chosen with care, reaching across time. Birdsong fills the air, a reminder that life continues even amid death. Oakland holds tales not always told in textbooks. The mass graves of yellow fever victims, the resting place of Margaret Mitchell's inspiration for Gone with the Wind, and the graves of former slaves who helped build the city. For visitors, the cemetery is both a place of quiet reflection and gentle celebration. Respect the stillness. Speak softly. Consider joining one of the guided tours to uncover stories hidden beneath the stones. As sunlight filters through the canopy, casting dappled light on mossy paths, you may feel the hum of history around you, a tapestry woven from loss, resilience, and hope. Oakland Cemetery invites you to remember that even in silence, there's profound storytelling, if only we pause long enough to listen. Lake Allatoona stretches wide beneath Georgia's sun, a shimmering expanse born from a collaboration of earth and engineering. Created in the 1950s by damming the Etowah River, it quickly became a refuge for both wildlife and wanderers. Its waters catch the light like fractured glass, reflecting pine-fringed shores where herons perch with quiet grace. The lake invites a gentle kind of escape, where the hum of a boat motor blends seamlessly with bird calls, and the scent of wildflowers mingles with fresh water. But this lake carries deeper layers beneath its surface. Long before the dam, this land was home to Cherokee people, whose village life and seasonal rhythms shaped the river's course. Flooded now beneath calm waters, their stories ripple in the collective memory of the land. For those who visit, Lake Allatoona offers a delicate balance of recreation and reverence. Swim in its clear coves, kayak beneath ancient oaks, or hike the trails winding through wooded hills. Yet always tread lightly. Wildlife here thrives quietly alongside human visitors. Keep noise low, respect no-wake zones, and take only photographs. As the sun dips low, the water glows molten gold. Fishermen haul in catfish and bass, while families gather on shores for fires and soft laughter. Lake Allatoona is more than a reservoir. It is a place where nature and history flow together, inviting each visitor to pause, breathe, and become part of its endless story. Lake Lanier stretches like a vast silver mirror nestled in the rolling hills of northern Georgia, its waters catching sunlight and cloud alike, shimmering beneath the broad sweep of sky. Created in the 1950s by damming the Chattahoochee River, the lake spans 38,000 acres, a man-made expanse that holds within its depth stories of transformation, resilience, and sometimes whispered sorrow. Before the waters rose, this valley was home to farms, homes, and a small town, communities that were displaced to make way for the lake's creation. Cemeteries were relocated, and the landscape itself reshaped, forever altered by human hands. Some say that on quiet mornings, when mist hangs low over the lake, you can almost hear echoes from beneath the surface. The creak of old wooden bridges, the distant laughter of children, the soft tolling of a bell from a church long submerged. Lake Lanier today is a playground and refuge. Families gather on sandy beaches, boats slice through the water, and anglers cast lines in hopeful patience. The gentle lap of waves against the shore is a constant lullaby. Pine trees stand sentinel along the banks, their reflections doubled in the stillness. Kayakers glide past herons and kingfishers, while sailboats dance across open water, buoyed by the steady breeze. Yet beneath this lively scene lies a complex history. The lake was born from ambition to provide power, flood control, and water for the growing Atlanta metro area, but a cost felt keenly by those whose homes were lost. Stories persist of sunken roads and buildings, of land once familiar now hidden beneath layers of water and memory. Fishermen speak in hushed tones of unusual shadows beneath the waves, perhaps remnants of a past world resting quietly. For visitors, Lake Lanier offers more than recreation. It asks for reverence, for the delicate balance between human desire and nature's persistence. Respect the wildlife, turtles sunning themselves on logs, otters weaving through reeds, eagles circling overhead. Keep noise to a whisper near nesting areas. Avoid disturbing the fragile shorelines where plants anchor the earth. Come in early morning light, when fog cloaks the lake in silver mystery, or stay until sunset paints the sky in strokes of pink and gold. Listen to the wind threading through cypress knees, carrying with the stories of generations, both those who stayed and those who moved on. Lake Lanier is a place of dualities, joy and loss, creation and destruction, stillness and movement. It invites each traveler to look beneath the surface, not just of its waters, but of the land and history holds. Here, amid shimmering waves and whispering pines, you may find a quiet connection to the relentless passage of time and the enduring pulse of life that persists no matter what is submerged or forgotten. Piedmont Park stretches like a green heart beating at the center of Atlanta, a refuge where city noise softens into bird calls and rustling leaves. Its wide lawns catch the afternoon sun, inviting families, artists, and dreamers to gather beneath the soaring live oaks. Here, the air carries a quiet history. The park was once the site of the 1895 Cotton States and International Exposition, a World's Fair designed to showcase the South's recovery after the Civil War. Though the grand buildings are gone, the spirit of progress mingles with the earth. and the reflections linger in the lake's still waters. On any day, you might see joggers tracing winding paths, children flying kites under a sky streaked with clouds, or lovers sitting quietly on weathered benches, hands entwined. The scent of jasmine and magnolia floats on a gentle breeze, while the skyline glimmers just beyond the treetops, a reminder that nature and urban life dance here in delicate balance. But Piedmont Park is more than leisure. It is a gathering place for voices raised in protest and hope. From civil rights rallies to Earth Day celebrations, its open spaces have held the dreams of many who sought change. Visitors are invited to move slowly, to pause beneath the shade of ancient trees, to watch turtles sunning on rocks in the lake, and to respect the park's delicate ecosystem. In spring, azaleas bloom with reckless color, and in autumn, leaves fall like soft fire, carpeting the ground. Each season tells its own story here, of growth, change, and resilience. Piedmont Park asks only for your attention, to the world beneath your feet, to the sky above, and to the steady pulse of life flowing quietly in between. Providence Canyon is a wild scar etched into Georgia's earth, a vivid canyon carved not by ancient rivers, but by the unintended hands of settlers. In the 1800s, poor farming practices led to catastrophic erosion, turning this patch of land into a striking landscape of gullies and cliffs. The canyon's walls blaze in shades of crimson, orange, and gold, a painter's palette born from clay and sunlight. The earth here seems alive, shifting gently with every breeze and rainfall, telling a story of nature's power and human vulnerability intertwined. Walking the trails, you hear the crunch of dry soil underfoot, the rustle of scrub oak, and the occasional call of a hawk circling overhead. The air carries the scent of pine and dust, sharp and clean. Despite its origins and hardship, Providence Canyon has become a sanctuary, a place where wildflowers bloom in cracks, and wildlife finds refuge in the rugged terrain. Visitors are urged to tread carefully. The fragile canyon edges crumble easily, and every footprint is a reminder of the delicate balance here. There's a quiet humility in standing amid such raw beauty, a sense that even mistakes can evolve into something breathtaking. At sunset, the canyon glows with an almost surreal intensity, its colors deepening as shadows stretch long and slow. Providence Canyon does not ask for admiration. It asks for respect for the land, for history, and for the lessons carved deep within its walls. And if you listen closely, you might just hear the earth's soft whisper, a call to tread lightly and to honor the scars that shape us all. Forsyth Park is Savannah's emerald heart, a wide-open space where moss-draped oaks sway gently in the coastal breeze. Its paths meander through gardens heavy with jasmine and azaleas. the air thick with their sweet perfume. At the center stands the iconic Forsyth Fountain, water sparkling as it arcs and falls in endless rhythm. A gathering place for lovers, artists, and passers-by alike, the park has witnessed centuries of change. From colonial days to civil rights marches, each moment layering quiet strength into its soil. Walk slowly along the brick pathways. Notice the old benches worn smooth by countless stories told in whispers. Hear the laughter of children chasing shadows, and the soft footsteps of those who come here seeking solace. If you visit, respect the park's peaceful spirit. Keep voices low and cameras gentle. Leave nothing behind but your own calm breath. Forsyth Park is not merely a park. It is a sanctuary, a place where the city's pulse slows, where history and nature dance in quiet harmony. And as the sun dips low, casting golden light through the trees, you may find yourself pausing, caught in the gentle embrace of this timeless place. Augusta rises along the Savannah River like a slow song, rich with history, rhythm, and resilience. Its streets carry the echoes of jazz trumpet notes and the footsteps of legends. Here, the past and present intertwine beneath the shade of ancient oaks, their branches heavy with Spanish moss that drapes like whispered secrets. Founded in 1736, Augusta was Georgia's second city, a vital port and a gateway for trade and culture. The river's steady flow brought cotton and commerce, but also the stories of those who labored in the fields and factories, their lives woven into the fabric of this town. Walk the historic district, and you'll find stately mansions standing proudly beside vibrant murals, each wall telling tales of struggle, hope, and creativity. Augusta's music scene pulses with soul, from the smoky clubs where blues and gospel bleed into the night, to the annual Masters Tournament, a tradition that brings the world's eyes here each spring. Yet beneath the glamour lies a city working hard to reconcile its past. Sites once silent now speak out, memorials honoring civil rights activists, and community efforts to embrace diversity and change. Visitors here are invited to listen to the river's murmurs, the songs of street performers, and the quiet conversations of neighbors. Respect the pace. Engage with open heart. In parks along the water, families picnic while children chase butterflies. And as dusk falls, lanterns flicker in cafe windows, casting warm pools of light on cobblestone streets. Augusta offers more than a visit. It offers a chance to witness a city's enduring spirit, a place where history hums beneath the surface, waiting for those who choose to hear. As our journey through Georgia comes to a close, we carry with us more than sights and sounds. We carry the spirit of a place woven from stories old and new, from rivers that run deep with memory, to cities that pulse with resilience and hope. Georgia is not just a map or a destination. It is a living poem, a mosaic of voices, landscapes, and moments that ask us to slow down, listen, and feel, from the moss-draped oaks of Savannah to the shimmering waters of Lanier and Allatoona, from mountain trails to quiet neighborhoods. Each step has been an invitation to become part of the land's unfolding story. And though this chapter closes, the journey does not end. The places we've touched remain alive, waiting quietly for the next traveler to come and see them anew. So carry these stories gently, hold their lessons softly, and remember, wherever your path leads, you are the traveler now, the keeper of memories, the listener of whispers, and the soul of the road ahead.